No idea about their business, but if someone owed me $200 million, then I would be in court, not on X. And I guarantee you, if she ever took that to court, that would be a huge story.
Keep it moving, and I am gonna blow up your spot one of these days.
Nicki Minaj just went off online, calling out Jay-Z in a wild series of posts. She claimed he owes her a massive $200 million from the title sale, and that he's been using Roc Nation to quietly freeze her out of the game. Jay hasn't said a single word back, but Nicki doubled down after she pulled up on him with what she called receipts. This whole situation is loaded with bold accusations and zero chill. Here's what's shaking things up: the title money talk, that $200 million claim, and the alleged Super Bowl snub. Let's start with the cash, because at the end of the day, this entire feud blew up over serious money. And we're not talking pocket change or some minor label drama. Nicki says it's hundreds of millions on the line. To really see her side, you gotta roll back to 2015. That's when Jay-Z dropped his streaming platform, Tidal. He called it an artist-owned alternative to Spotify and Apple Music, a movement where creators finally got paid from the tables they built.
Nicki is launching a piggyback attack on Jay, and we all know, if you haven't, just to refresh your memory about why she doesn't like Jay, she claims that Jay, finessed her with the title situation. She also made a claim that Jay-Z owes Nicki Minaj $200 million, right? Now, if you watched her tweets over the last year or so, especially after she's also attacked Jay-Z's company's Roc Nation CEO, Desiree Perez, she's basically accused them of really doing some heinous things or trying to do some heinous things to her. So this is a really deep public feud at this point. Jay-Z's never acknowledged.
The idea sounded legendary at the time. Jay brought in heavy hitters to back it up: Beyonce, Rihanna, J. Cole, Kanye West, Madonna, and most importantly, Nicki Minaj herself. Each of them got around a 3% equity stake in Tidal. The deal was simple. They'd post exclusive content, promote it to their fans, and ride for the vision like it was their own empire. Nicki took that seriously. She went all in, posting nonstop, dropping Tidal exclusives, and hyping it like her career depended on it. She even stood center stage at that iconic launch event beside Usher, Rihanna, Madonna, and the rest of the crew, all looking like they were about to flip the entire streaming world upside down. The vibe in that room back then was electric. Every artist there truly believed they were about to flip the entire music industry on its head. But things took a wild turn later on. In 2021, Jay-Z decided to cash out, selling the majority of Tidal to Jack Dorsey's company, Square, now called Block, for around $302 million in cash and stock. That's a mind-blowing payday. Now, when you break down the numbers, Nicki's supposed 3% equity should have landed her close to $9 million. Bare minimum. Simple math, right? But according to Nicki, she didn't see a single cent from that deal. Not one penny. She claimed Jay's team only offered her a measly $1 million to stay quiet and vanish from the convo. She called that a straight-up insult, saying it felt like daylight robbery on social media for the world to see. Nicki didn't hold back either. She posted online saying, "We've calculated about 100 to 200 million so far. Hashtag Jay-Z called me to settle this karmic debt. It's only collecting more interest. You still in my top 5 though? Let's get it." That line alone had the internet losing its mind. And when she added that anyone still calling him Hav would have to answer to God for it, people couldn't believe what they were reading. Then the Breakfast Club crew jumped in with their take, keeping it brutally honest. They said what a lot of folks were already whispering: if someone really owed you $200 million, why post about it instead of heading straight to court? It's a fair point, and it got the internet debating nonstop. So far, there's been no lawsuit, no court filings, and no official action. Just a string of tweets that Nicki dropped like precise shots. Each post hit hard, calculated, and full of shade. Nicki didn't just toss out wild claims hoping one would stick. She built her case like she was dropping an entire indictment against Jay-Z's empire. She came for everything, piece by piece, brick by brick. According to her, Jay hasn't just messed with her career, he's damaged everything the culture holds sacred. She went off, accusing him of ruining hip-hop, football, basketball, touring, even social media itself. She tweeted, "Dear Fight Jay-Z, you ruined hip-hop, you ruined football, you ruined basketball, you ruined touring, you ruined Instagram, you ruined Twitter. The jig is up." That one post had the internet exploding. Of course, she made it clear it was all alleged and just for entertainment, but the tone, savage. The Breakfast Club crew couldn't hold it in. They were cracking up live on air, clowning about how Nicki turned her timeline into a courtroom. But behind all the memes and jokes, the title money situation still hits different. Because if Nicki really had that 3% stake in a company sold for $302 million and she only got offered $1 million to stay quiet, that's a straight up slap in the face. By the math alone, she should have walked away with around $9 million minimum. And she claims the real number's even higher when you count all the promo work and brand power she brought to Tidal. That's not some friendly business mix-up. That's a major level fumble. Nicki's calling it what it is, a violation, both in boardrooms and in the streets. She even said when she finally gets what's owed, she's putting it toward her Chakra Student of the Game charity, a fund meant to help her fans pay tuition and clear student loans. So in her view, Jay-Z isn't just taking from her, he's taking from the barbs, from students trying to get an education, from the people who ride for her every day. That hit deep. It turned this whole drama from a business beef into a mission with purpose. And the craziest part, the title situation wasn't even the only thing setting Nicki off. Let's get into the Super Bowl drama, because this one shook the culture to its core.
Hashtag Jay-Z, you ruined hip-hop, you ruined football, you ruined basketball, you ruined touring, you ruined Instagram, you ruined Twitter. The jig is up. All of this is alleged and for entertainment purposes only. And she also is saying, she's mentioning Desiree, who is one of Jay-Z's.
You might as well say Jay-Z's the head of Doge. Jay-Z invaded Gaza. You might as well just come on, add some more to that.
In September 2024, the NFL officially announced that Kendrick Lamar would headline the Super Bowl 59 halftime show in New Orleans. Now, for anyone who even slightly knows hip-hop, that move felt like a straight-up punch to the gut for one man, Lil Wayne. Wayne is New Orleans. Born and raised in that city, he's its heartbeat, its rhythm, its living legend. We're talking about one of the greatest rappers to ever touch a mic, no debate. And since the Super Bowl was literally happening in his own hometown, everyone just assumed it was his moment. It made perfect sense. Wayne, New Orleans, the biggest stage in the world, it practically wrote itself. But then came the twist. Roc Nation, which co-produces the Apple Music NFL halftime show, had its hands all over the decision-making. And when Kendrick's name dropped instead of Wayne's, the streets lit up with questions. That's when Nicki Minaj went nuclear online. She dropped a fiery post straight at Jay-Z, accusing him of blocking Wayne's shine. She wrote that he was denying a young black man what he rightfully put into this game, and that his ego and his grudges with Birdman, Drake, and Nicki were the real reasons Wayne got left out. She didn't stop there. Nicki even brought Eminem into the mix, reminding everyone how M made sure 50 Cent hit the stage during his halftime show, saying, "A white man stood firm for his day ones." That line sliced through social media like a razor. Her message was loud. Eminem showed more loyalty to his people than Jay-Z did to his own community, his own culture. Whether people agreed with her or not, that bar landed hard. Because Wayne not getting that Super Bowl slot in his own city, that just didn't sit right. Fans from every corner, barbs, old school heads, street legends, industry insiders, everyone had something to say. It wasn't just disappointment, it felt personal, and Nicki made sure the world saw it that way. She painted the situation as proof of a bigger pattern, that Jay-Z was allegedly using Roc Nation's power to freeze out anyone tied to her circle. Wayne, Drake, Birdman, and even herself. The Super Bowl snub was just the loudest, most public sign of it all. And once that bomb dropped, everything else, from the monster collab to this new wave of modern warfare, started to make way more sense. But here's what a lot of folks miss when they see Nicki going off online. This isn't some random internet beef between two celebs who barely know each other. Nicki and Jay-Z go way back. Their connection runs deep, complicated, and layered over more than 15 years of shared history in the game. That's why every post, every accusation, and every shot she fires hits so much harder. It's not just business to her, it's personal. And it's been building for a long time. Let's spin it back to 2009, a major moment in hip-hop history. Kanye West dropped Monster, and the lineup was stacked with heavyweights. Jay-Z, Rick Ross, Bon Iver, and a young Nicki Minaj, who was still grinding her way up the mixtape scene. But when that track hit the streets, it wasn't Jay or Ross that had people talking. It was Nicki. She devoured that beat, like she came to prove a point to the whole game. Her verse on Monster is still talked about today as one of the greatest guest verses in hip-hop history. No exaggeration. That moment changed everything. It was her official announcement to the world that she wasn't just another artist trying to get noticed, she was a force, ready to stand toe-to-toe with the legends, even with Jay-Z himself in the lineup. Jay clearly saw that fire early. Before she reached global superstardom, he recognized her potential and tried to bring her under Roc Nation's wing. He saw the star power, the ambition, the drive. He wanted her on his team. But Nicki didn't chase clout. She stayed loyal to the ones who believed in her first. Instead of signing with Jay, she stuck with Lil Wayne and the Young Money family, the same crew that gave her a shot when nobody else was looking her way. That choice spoke volumes. And according to some insiders, that decision, choosing Wayne's camp over Jay's, might have been the first spark of tension between them, a tiny seed that would take years to grow, but eventually explode into the major feud we're seeing now.
And why Roc Nation don't sue Nicki? If you know, they're quick to kind of support Meg and sue a blogger who doesn't have anything. Why not sue Nicki? That's kind of odd. I'm not saying they should, but I'm just saying, you know, usually when they're not suing, it's like they kind of know they don't have a case, which means maybe you have some type of point that you've made.
Still, Jay didn't act salty about it, at least not out in the open. In fact, he even looked out for her. In 2010, Jay personally recommended Nicki for Robin Thicke's track, Shakin' It for Daddy, which she later said was one of the biggest cosigns of her early career. That same year, she hit the stage with Jay-Z and Eminem at Yankee Stadium for the legendary Home and Home concert series, making history as the first female rapper ever to perform on that stage. That's an iconic moment, and Jay was the one who made it happen. During that era, Nicki always spoke about Jay with real respect and admiration. Whenever interviewers asked about her influences, she mentioned him first, no hesitation. She admired how he moved in business, the way he turned bars into billions, always staying sharp, calculated, and true to himself. To her, Jay wasn't just a rapper. He was the model of how to turn street credibility into a lasting empire. Nicki once said, what stood out most about Jay-Z wasn't just his wordplay, it was his business mind. He was proof that someone from the projects could rise to billionaire status without selling out or losing touch with their roots. To her, Jay-Z wasn't just an idol. He was the blueprint. Nicki was so inspired by Jay-Z's rise that she modeled her 2014 album, The Pink Print, directly after his legendary Blueprint series. That wasn't some random coincidence. It was a clear, intentional nod to a man she genuinely admired and hoped to follow in the footsteps of. She saw him as the ultimate example of turning hustle into legacy, and she wanted to carve her own version of that story. For years, their relationship seemed solid, built on mutual respect and professionalism. Back in 2012, they even sat near each other at the BET Awards, with just Kanye West and Kim Kardashian between them. Pure VIP energy. By 2015, they were side by side again at the title launch, presenting themselves as champions of artist ownership and empowerment. And as recently as 2022, Jay-Z and Beyonce sent Nicki flowers to celebrate her MTV Video Vanguard Award win. Nicki even thanked them publicly, showing love and appreciation for the gesture. So the question everyone's asking now is, what changed? How did that admiration flip into open hostility? How did a mentee's respect for her idol turn into an all-out social media battlefield? The cracks started showing around 2021, right when Jay-Z sold Tidal, and those payments didn't line up with what Nicki believed she was owed. That's when she began hinting online that something wasn't adding up. At first, it was subtle, little posts that seemed like random thoughts. But by September 2024, the gloves came off. She was done hinting. Nicki went full throttle, firing off accusations directly at Jay-Z and Roc Nation, naming names and demanding answers. By July 2025, things hit another level. She started tweeting specific numbers, $100 million, $200 million, and tagging people left and right, daring anyone to step up and prove her wrong. The energy was bold, relentless, and way past friendly industry talk. But soon, it wasn't just about the money anymore. It became about power. Nicki shifted her focus straight to Roc Nation's CEO, Desiree Perez, who she started calling Darrow. She questioned everything, from Perez's presidential pardon for old narcotics charges to her position as head of one of the most powerful management companies in the game. Nicki accused Roc Nation of running the industry like a secret machine, blackballing artists who didn't play along, poaching talent from rival labels through shady backdoor deals, and even using online bot armies to bury her engagement and twist social media narratives. She didn't stop there. Nicki also claimed the company had its hands in chart manipulation, hinting that Billboard numbers weren't always what they seemed. Whether people believed her or not, one thing was crystal clear. The respect was gone, and Nicki was no longer playing nice. What started as a quiet disagreement over money had erupted into a full-blown war against one of the most powerful forces in entertainment. Nicki didn't hold back when it came to calling out what she believed was happening behind closed doors. She claimed Roc Nation sabotaged her documentary because she dared to speak openly about the abuse she faced in the industry. According to her, they didn't just block her project, they stalled it on purpose, hoping she'd start losing money until she'd be forced to come crawling back for help. Those are massive accusations, not just shady business moves, but claims of a full-on coordinated plan to wreck her career from the inside out. DJ Academics broke the whole thing down on his show, dissecting how wild and one-sided this feud had become. He pointed out that Nicki was out here swinging non-stop, while Jay-Z hadn't thrown a single punch back, not even a jab. And that observation is key, because Jay-Z has stayed completely silent. No tweets, no interviews, no verses with hidden shots, not even a sly Instagram caption. Through Roc Nation's entire PR machine, it's been nothing but radio silence. Zero engagement, zero reaction. Just calm. Now, depending on who you ask, that silence means two totally different things. Some say Jay's just operating on boss mode, too composed, too powerful, and too strategic to waste energy feeding into online chaos. They see it as him refusing to legitimize the drama by even acknowledging it. But others, including Nicki, see that quiet as proof of something deeper. Her logic is blunt. If someone's accusing you publicly of owing $200 million and you don't even bother to deny it, what message does that send to the streets? It leaves people wondering. Either Jay's so sure her claims are baseless that he doesn't need to respond, or maybe there's just enough truth in those allegations that saying anything could backfire and pull the curtain back even further. It's a dangerous kind of silence, the kind that makes everyone start filling in the blanks on their own. When you look at their story from the start, it almost feels like something straight out of a hip-hop tragedy. They went from admiration to collaboration, from sharing stages to building each other's brands, and now it's scorched earth with no middle ground left. And through it all, Jay-Z's refusal to say a single word might just be the loudest statement of them all. The Grammy meltdown, the political pivot, and where everything spiraled from there. If you thought the title money drama and the Super Bowl uproar were the peak of Nicki Minaj versus Jay-Z, you better buckle up, because what went down during the 2026 Grammy Awards took this feud into a whole different universe of chaos. This wasn't just another hip-hop beef spilling across social media anymore. This was a full-blown cultural earthquake. And right in the middle of it all stood Nicki Minaj, phone in hand, heart on fire, and not a single ounce of regret. February 1st, 2026, the 68th Annual Grammy Awards at the Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles. Every major name in the industry was in the building. Drake, Beyonce, Kendrick, Taylor Swift, everyone who mattered in music was sitting under those golden lights. But one person was noticeably missing, Nicki Minaj. She wasn't nominated, she wasn't performing, she wasn't even presenting. Yet somehow, she was still the biggest topic of the entire night. Even without stepping foot inside that arena, Nicki dominated the conversation like no one else. Google Trends confirmed it. She was the most searched artist during the entire broadcast. Every headline, every tweet, every group chat was locked on her name. It all started when host Trevor Noah opened the show with a calculated jab aimed squarely at Nicki. Standing in front of the music industry's elite, he dropped a line that had the crowd gasping and laughing at the same time. The cameras instantly caught Chrissy Teigen throwing her head back, cracking up, while John Legend grinned from ear to ear. The audience couldn't get enough. They were loving every second of it. The message in that room was loud and clear. The industry was clowning Nicki for her recent political shift, and everyone was in on the joke. But Nicki wasn't going to sit back and take that quietly. No way. She was watching everything in real time, and the moment that joke hit the air, she unleashed an online firestorm like the internet had never seen before. Her posts came fast, raw, and relentless. Tweet after tweet, video after video, calling out the hypocrisy, the power players, and anyone who laughed along. Her energy was unfiltered and explosive. Within minutes, her name was trending across every platform, with millions watching her drag the entire show from afar. It was more than a reaction. It was a moment. Nicki had turned her absence into dominance, proving that even when she's not invited to the party, she can still own the room from miles away. What came next was pure digital mayhem. One of the most intense, unfiltered, and explosive social media rampages ever seen from any major figure in entertainment. While the Grammy broadcast was still rolling live on TV, Nicki Minaj lit up her timeline like a verbal machine gun, post after post, firing shots in every direction. It wasn't just a few spicy tweets, it was a full-scale online assault that left fans, critics, and even celebs completely stunned.
Now, you've also said that Jay-Z, Foxy Brown, and Lil Wayne were some of your biggest influences when you were coming up. What did each of them have that you wanted to emulate?
Jay-Z, business savvy. Foxy Brown, immaculate delivery. Lil Wayne, trendsetter.
She went after Trevor Noah first, clapping back at his Grammy joke with precision. Then she turned her sights on Chrissy Teigen, calling her out with sharp personal words. From there, Nicki's posts grew even bolder. She dragged Lizzo over career setbacks and personal struggles, tossing out ruthless commentary that had the internet spinning. And she didn't stop there. She aimed at the Democratic Party itself, blasting them in fiery political rants that had people scrolling nonstop trying to keep up. But the name she came for hardest, no surprise, was Jay-Z. This time, she went deeper and darker than ever before, accusing him and his circle of things far beyond the usual music industry beef. Her timeline was a storm, each tweet more intense than the last. She wrote things suggesting that powerful people were involved in disturbing rituals and exploitation behind the scenes. Posts that touched on global corruption, secrecy, and dark practices, claims that immediately lit up the internet and drew huge concern. She also claimed once again that her documentary had been blocked because she spoke about abuse in the industry and that certain executives were trying to financially pressure her until she begged for help. Her words were sharp, emotional, and full of fury, warning that what was coming next for them wasn't funny. It was heavy, seriously heavy. These weren't your usual rap feuds or label disputes anymore. This had crossed over into territory way beyond music or politics. And because of the intensity of what she was posting, it shook everyone watching that night. To be absolutely clear though, none of the more extreme claims Nicki made online have ever been supported by any credible evidence, investigation, or legal filing. Still, the fact that she said them publicly with that much conviction made the situation explode even further. The internet was divided. Some thought she was exposing hidden truths, while others believed she had gone too far. Either way, that night cemented itself as one of the wildest, most unpredictable moments in modern pop culture, and Nicki Minaj was once again at the center of it all. There's zero verified evidence backing up Nicki's wildest claims, but what is undeniable is that they marked the total collapse of whatever professional bond, mutual respect, or personal trust she and Jay-Z once had. This isn't just about a messy business fallout anymore. This is someone who feels she's gone to war with an entire power structure. Nicki's not just mad, she's making it clear she's willing to scorch every bridge, every alliance, and every ounce of industry courtesy on her way out. The Grammy blow-up didn't just come out of thin air either. It was the explosion after years of slow burning tension. And a major piece of that puzzle? Nicki's bold and very public political pivot. Over the last couple of years, she's been more and more vocal about her alignment with Donald Trump and her criticism of the entertainment establishment, and that move flipped the industry upside down. By December 2025, she made it official. Nicki appeared at Turning Point USA's America Fest, taking the stage with fire in her voice and conviction in her tone. She delivered a passionate speech about her Christian faith, her admiration for President Trump, and her frustration with what she described as being silenced, mocked, and blackballed by the Hollywood elite. She called on young people to think for themselves, to have the courage to stand tall, even if the entire system told them to sit down. That alone shook up the timeline, but January 2026 took things to another level. Nicki showed up again, this time at a Treasury Department summit alongside Trump himself, helping launch a new initiative called Trump Accounts, aimed at offering investment savings for kids. Cameras flashed as she stood right beside him, holding his hand and smiling for the crowd. She didn't hold back either. She told the audience she was his #1 fan, flashed a gold Trump card, and said her citizenship paperwork was finally being completed. The clip went viral instantly. Fans couldn't believe what they were seeing, and the internet practically melted down overnight. Then, in a sit-down podcast interview with Katie Miller, wife of Trump advisor Stephen Miller, Nicki explained the mindset behind it all. She said watching Trump get attacked nonstop by the media gave her a new level of empathy. To her, he was a symbol of resistance, someone who stood tall while being painted as the villain, and she related to that deeply. For Nicki, this wasn't just about politics. It was about identity, survival, and control over her own narrative. But for the industry that once embraced her, this pivot felt like betrayal. And that's when the backlash truly exploded. Nicki said watching Trump get dragged by the media reminded her of her own battles in the entertainment world. It hit close to home. She said the parallel was undeniable and deeply personal, admitting that the hate she gets for supporting him only motivates me to support him more. That statement lit the internet on fire. The backlash came instantly, loud, wide, and brutal. Within days, online petitions demanding her deportation gathered more than 120,000 signatures. Social media feeds flooded with criticism, and the tone was ruthless. Many in the LGBTQ+ community, one of the strongest and most loyal parts of Nicki's fan base, said they felt deeply betrayed. For years, they were the ones who defended her, celebrated her, and lifted her career through every storm. And now, they said it felt like she turned her back on them. Even some celebrities quietly stepped away. Ariana Grande reportedly created distance, and other peers in the industry went completely silent. The support Nicki once enjoyed from every corner of pop culture began to crumble overnight. Her fiery Grammy night rant, packed with unfiltered conspiracy talk, personal jabs, and explosive political statements, instantly became the defining image of Nicki Minaj in 2026. The headlines weren't about music anymore. They were about chaos, controversy, and politics. But here's the thing, most people scrolling their timelines missed. Nicki's political shift didn't come out of nowhere. It wasn't random, and it definitely wasn't sudden. It was the result of years of frustration, feeling boxed out and betrayed by the very industry she helped shape. The title money dispute opened the first wound. She felt cheated, ignored, and disrespected. Then came the Super Bowl snub of her mentor, Lil Wayne, in his own city. That one cut deep. And if that wasn't enough, her long and bitter feuds with Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, two artists with strong ties to Roc Nation, only poured more fuel on an already raging fire. Each conflict seemed to push her further away from the mainstream, making her feel like the industry was closing ranks against her. So by the time she found a new lane politically, it wasn't just rebellion, it was revenge. It was Nicki reclaiming her power on her own terms, even if it meant alienating fans, risking her reputation, and setting fire to bridges she once helped build. The world saw chaos, but Nicki saw freedom. And in her mind, that freedom was worth every ounce of fallout that came with it. Nicki's journey didn't just explode overnight. It built up slowly, fueled by one major feeling she couldn't shake: the belief that blogs, media outlets, and streaming platforms were all teaming up to silence her voice while giving the spotlight to her rivals. She felt the system was rigged, that her story was being buried while her enemies' narratives were being boosted to the top. That kind of constant pressure and rejection pushed her farther and farther from the industry's inner circle. And when that inner circle is run by what many see as liberal Hollywood, the opposite path often leads toward conservative spaces, the ones that love an outcast story. Whether you agree with her or not, that's how the pipeline forms. Hurt turns into rebellion, rebellion turns into defiance, and defiance becomes a whole new identity. That's exactly the emotional and professional road that brought Nicki Minaj to where she stands today. Loud, unfiltered, and unafraid. DJ Academics pointed out something sharp on his show. He said there's a pattern here. Artists like Nicki, like Kanye, always end up in this same cycle, rising to the top, clashing with the system, and then breaking away from it completely. But Academics also asked a question that everyone watching this saga needs to really think about. If Roc Nation is known for being quick to lawyer up and take legal action against bloggers or commentators who spread rumors they don't like, and if they've publicly backed other artists like Megan Thee Stallion in court, then why hasn't Roc Nation sued Nicki Minaj for these huge public accusations? That's not a small thing. Nicki's been naming names, dropping dollar amounts, and calling out Jay-Z directly for over a year now. So, why has there been total silence from one of the most powerful entertainment companies in the world? That silence hangs heavy, like smoke from a fire you can't see, but you know is still burning. It doesn't automatically prove Nicki's right, but it does raise a serious question. Why are they letting these claims hang out in the open, completely unchallenged? Because when you strip away all the memes, the viral clips, and the social media noise, this feud between Nicki Minaj and Jay-Z is about way more than just tweets and clout. It's about money, possibly hundreds of millions of dollars that Nicki believes she was robbed of through corporate games and shady backroom moves. It's about power. Who controls the story? Who gets the spotlight? And who gets quietly pushed aside? It's about loyalty, or what happens when that loyalty turns into betrayal between two people who once stood shoulder to shoulder as part of the same movement. And most of all, it's about what happens when someone who used to be on the inside decides to step out, slam the door behind them, and tell the world exactly what went down. No filter, no apology, and definitely no fear. Nicki's made it clear she's not backing down. She said she won't drop another album until her contract gets rewritten on her own terms. She's teased upcoming story times that she claims will shake the entire industry from top to bottom. And she's repeated more than once that the destruction that's about to rain down on them isn't funny. Whether you're on Nicki's side or standing with Hav, one thing's for sure. This story isn't done. Not even close. Every day, with every new post, every cryptic tweet, and every deafening silence from Jay-Z's camp, this saga keeps evolving right in front of us. And that silence, that calm, unbroken quiet from Jay-Z, it might just be the loudest thing in this entire drama. Man. So what do you think? Who's really telling the truth here? Is this a billionaire's cover-up or a superstar's breaking point? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that like button if you're keeping up with the story, and don't forget to subscribe for the next explosive chapter, because trust me, this saga is far from over. See you in the next one.